In the last episode of humanity's struggle for survival, the world teetered on the brink of collapse. Environmental disasters and societal unrest had pushed the planet to its limits. Yet, amidst the ruins, a beacon of hope emerged. Ambrose Wynter, a visionary entrepreneur, forged unlikely alliances with marginalized species, propelling humanity forward. As I stood on the rooftop, gazing out at the ravaged landscape, the wind whipping my hair into a frenzy, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and trepidation. The once blue skies were now a hazy gray, and the air reeked of smoke and desperation. I took a deep breath, the acrid taste filling my lungs, and my thoughts turned to the journey that had brought me here. From humble beginnings to becoming the leader of humanity's resurgence, the path had been fraught with challenges. A voice crackled over the comms device in my ear, jolting me back to the present. Ambrose, we have a situation at the outer rim. Reports of a stranded vessel, possibly carrying crucial supplies. I rubbed the weariness from my eyes, my mind racing with the implications. Put me through to the pilot. The voice on the other end was laced with urgency. Ambrose, this is Captain Ortega. We're reading multiple life signs on board, but the ship is on the verge of collapse. Requesting permission to initiate rescue protocols. My gut tightened as I weighed the risks. Captain, can you confirm the cargo manifest? There's a pause, and then Captain Ortega's voice comes back, laced with a hint of excitement. Ambrose, we're reading advanced tech on board, possibly prototype equipment from the pre-collapse era. The possibilities swirled in my mind like a maelstrom. Advanced tech could be the key to unlocking humanity's true potential. Captain, proceed with caution. I'll mobilize a support team to meet you at the coordinates. As I descended into the makeshift command center, the hum of activity enveloped me. Screens flickered with data, and technicians worked in tandem, their faces a blur of concentration. A young woman, her eyes fixed on a holographic display, spoke up. Ambrose, we're reading anomalous energy signatures emanating from the stranded vessel. I strode over to her station, my eyes locked on the data streaming across the screen. Anomalous? Defiant. The woman's brow furrowed. It's unlike anything I've seen before. Almost. Alien. A shiver ran down my spine. Alien politics were a delicate dance, and I had tread this path before. The Kai-Ren, Zeridians, and Entarians, each with their own agendas and motivations. A priority alert flashed on the main screen, and a voice boomed through the speakers. Ambrose Wynter, this is the Galactic Council. We have received reports of your involvement in the rescue operation. Cease and desist immediately. My gut twisted in a familiar knot. The Council's interference was a sign of the challenges to come. We'll need to move quickly, I said, my voice low and even. Alert the team. We'll need to be prepared for any eventuality. The room fell into a flurry of activity as my words sparked a chain reaction. I stood tall, my eyes fixed on the horizon, the weight of the challenge ahead settling onto my shoulders. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and I was ready to do whatever it took to secure its future. But as I watched the technicians scramble to respond, a nagging sense of unease crept in, a feeling that the course of events was about to take a drastic turn, one that would test my resolve, my alliances, and my very understanding of the galaxy. The comms device in my ear crackled to life once more, and Captain Ortega's voice cut through the din. Ambrose, we're on site. The vessel is heavily damaged, but we've detected multiple life signs. I am preparing a team to breach the hull. I nodded, my mind racing with the variables. Captain, be advised, we have Galactic Council presence in the area. Exercise extreme caution. A pause, and then Captain Ortega's voice returned, laced with a hint of concern. Ambrose, we're reading unusual energy fluctuations within the vessel. It's like nothing I've seen before, requesting guidance. I took a deep breath, my thoughts darting to the possibilities. Alien tech, council interference, the stakes were escalating by the minute. Captain, proceed with caution. I'll patch through our chief engineer, Dr. Patel. Shall guide you through the breach. As I turned to make my way to the engineering bay, a hand grasped my arm, halting my progress. It was Lyra, my trusted advisor, her eyes locked on mine with an unspoken warning. Ambrose, we need to talk. The Council's involvement is just the tip of the iceberg. There are rumblings of an ancient faction, long thought extinct, stirring in the shadows. My gut tightened, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. Ancient factions, mythical powers, the galaxy was full of secrets, and I had a feeling that this was just the beginning. Lyra, gather what intel you can. I'll meet with the Council's representative and stall for time. We need to know what we're up against. With a curt nod, Lyra vanished into the chaos, leaving me to confront the Council's emissary. I steeled myself for the encounter, my mind racing with the implications of ancient powers and alien tech. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and I was ready to do whatever it took to secure its future. As I stepped into the makeshift negotiation chamber, the air grew thick with tension. The Council's representative, a tall, imposing figure, gazed at me with an unreadable expression. Ambrose Wynter, you have 24 hours to stand down and surrender the vessel. Failure to comply will result in consequences. I smiled, a cold, calculated smile. The Council thought they had the upper hand, but I had secrets of my own, alliances forged in the depths of the galaxy. I'm afraid that's not an option. Humanity will not be intimidated. The representative's expression remained impassive, but a flicker of uncertainty danced in their eyes. I knew that look. It was the glimmer of doubt that I had exploited countless times before. With a slow, deliberate nod, I triggered the comms device in my ear. Captain Ortega, this is Ambrose. You have a green light. Breach the hull and retrieve the cargo. Whatever it takes, get that tech on board. The representative's eyes narrowed, a growl building in their throat. I smiled again, this time with a hint of defiance. The game was on, and I was ready to play. The representative's gaze never wavered, their voice laced with venom. You're making a grave mistake, Ambrose Wynter. The Council will not be threatened. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on the representatives. I'm not threatening the Council, I am warning you. Humanity will no longer be held back by your petty power struggles. A muscle twitched in the representative's jaw, but they maintained their composure. You have 23 hours and 59 minutes to reconsider. I shrugged, a calculated risk settling in my mind. I'll take my chances. With a curt nod, the representative turned and exited the makeshift chamber, leaving me to wonder what secrets they hid behind their mask of confidence. I didn't have to wait long for an answer. Lyra's voice whispered in my ear, her words laced with urgency. Ambrose, we've intercepted a transmission from the Council's flagship. It seems they're mobilizing a fleet to intercept our convoy. My heart quickened, the stakes escalating with every passing moment. I keyed the comms device, my voice steady. Captain Ortega, update your timeline. We need that cargo now more than ever. A pause, and then Captain Ortega's response came, laced with a hint of determination. Ambrose, we're breaching the hull. Prepare for possible contamination protocols. I nodded, my mind racing with the possibilities. Alien tech, ancient factions, and now a Council fleet mobilizing against us. The universe was conspiring against humanity's resurgence. I steeled myself for the unknown, my vision for the future burning brighter with every obstacle. The wait was agonizing, my senses on high alert as I paced the cramped corridor outside the makeshift negotiation chamber. Lyra's warning echoed in my mind, ancient factions, long thought extinct, stirring in the shadows. The Council's desperation was palpable, and I knew I had to push forward no matter the cost. A chime from the comms device broke the silence, Captain Ortega's voice laced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Ambrose, we've breached the hull. You need to see this. I didn't hesitate, my footsteps echoing through the corridor as I made my way to the docking bay. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, no matter the danger or the cost. As I entered the docking bay, a collective gasp from the assembled crew greeted me. Before us stood an alien vessel unlike any I had seen, its hull a twisted mesh of organic and synthetic components, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Captain Ortega's team worked with precision, carefully extracting the cargo from the breached vessel. My eyes locked on the cargo, a shiver running down my spine. It was a single crystalline artifact, radiating an intense, pulsating glow. The air seemed to vibrate with an ancient power, as if the very fabric of spacetime was bending to accommodate its presence. I felt it, the weight of history, the whispered secrets of the galaxy. This was more than just alien tech. It was a key to unlocking the mysteries of the cosmos, and I was willing to do whatever it took to harness its power. With a deep breath, I reached out, my hand hovering above the artifact. The room held its collective breath, sensing the significance of the moment. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and I was ready to claim our place among the stars. But as my fingers made contact with the crystal, a blinding flash of light erupted, and the universe went dark. I felt myself hurtling through a vortex of colors, my consciousness torn from my physical form. The artifact's power coursed through me, ancient secrets and mysteries flashing before my eyes like a kaleidoscope of knowledge. I witnessed the birth of stars, the dance of galaxies, and the whispered secrets of forgotten civilizations. Time lost all meaning as I traversed the cosmos, the fabric of reality unfolding before me like a tapestry. I saw the Council's desperation, their petty squabbles and power struggles mere child's play against the backdrop of the universe. I saw the threads of fate that bound humanity to the ancient factions, the delicate balance of power that hung in the balance. And then, as suddenly as it began, the vision ended. I found myself back in the docking bay, the artifact still clutched in my hand. The room was silent, the crew frozen in awe, their eyes locked on me. Captain Ortega's team stood motionless, their tools suspended in midair. Lyra's voice whispered in my ear, laced with a mix of wonder and concern. "Ambrose, what just happened?" I took a deep breath, the artifact's power still coursing through me. "I saw the universe, Lyra. I saw our place in it." A pause, and then Lyra's response came, laced with a hint of trepidation. "Ambrose, the Council's fleet is closing in. We need to act now." I nodded, the artifact's secrets still echoing in my mind. I knew what I had to do. With a calculating gaze, I turned to Captain Ortega. "Captain, we need to integrate this artifact into our ship systems. We have a Council fleet to outrun." Captain Ortega's eyes locked on mine, a spark of determination igniting within. "Ambrose, we'll need to modify our engines, recalibrate our shields." I nodded, the artifact's power still coursing through me. "Do it, Captain. We don't have much time." With a curt nod, Captain Ortega turned to her team, their movements a blur as they worked to harness the artifact's power. I watched, my mind racing with the possibilities, the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. As the crew worked, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had only scratched the surface of the artifact's secrets. The universe had whispered secrets in my ear, and I knew that I had to unravel its mysteries if humanity was to survive. The clock was ticking, the Council's fleet closing in. But I was ready, the artifact's power coursing through me like a river of fire. I would stop at nothing to ensure humanity's emergence as a dominant empire. And as the ship's engines roared to life, I knew that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The universe had given me a glimpse of its secrets, and I was ready to take the reins. The ship's engines rumbled to life, a low growl that vibrated through every molecule of metal and air. Captain Ortega's team worked with precision, their hands moving in tandem as they integrated the artifact's power into the ship's systems. Lyra watched me with an intensity that bordered on concern, her eyes locking onto mine as if searching for answers. I kept my gaze fixed on the horizon, the artifact still clutched in my hand. Its power coursed through me, a constant reminder of the universe's secrets and mysteries. The Council's fleet was closing in, their ships a blur on the horizon. We needed to move, and fast. "Ambrose, we're approaching critical mass," Captain Ortega called out, her voice laced with a hint of urgency. I nodded, the artifact's power surging through me. "Take us into hyperspace, Captain. We need to lose them in the labyrinth." The ship shuddered, its engines roaring to life as we pierced the veil of hyperspace. Stars and galaxies blurred around us, the universe becoming a kaleidoscope of colors and lights. I felt the ship's trajectory, the artifact guiding me through the labyrinthine tunnels of hyperspace. We emerged on the other side, the ship system straining to compensate for the intense gravitational forces. The Council's fleet was mere minutes behind, their ships pouring out of hyperspace like a swarm of angry wasps. Incoming transmission from the Council, Lyra announced, her voice crisp and efficient. I nodded, my mind racing with possibilities. Put it through, Lyra. The Council's emblem flickered to life on the viewscreen, a symbol of corruption and decay. I watched with a calculating gaze as the Council's chairman, Archon Zorvath, sneered at me from the screen. Ambrose Wynter, you're a fool for thinking you can outrun the Council, Zorvath spat, his voice oozing with contempt. Surrender now and we might spare your life. I smiled, the artifact's power coursing through me. Zorvath, you've always underestimated humanity. We won't be intimidated. Zorvath's face turned red with rage, but I cut him off before he could respond. Lyra, hail the Arcor faction. It's time we forged an alliance. The viewscreen flickered, and a hooded figure appeared, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark. Ambrose Wynter, the Arcor have been waiting for you. We will provide you with the firepower you need to take down the Council, but be warned, our price will be steep. I nodded, the artifact's power guiding me. I am willing to pay it. Let's discuss the terms. The hooded figure inclined its head and the viewscreen went dark. I turned to Captain Ortega, my mind racing with possibilities. Captain, we need to rendezvous with the Arcor fleet. We have a war to win. Captain Ortega nodded, her eyes locked on mine. Well, be ready, Ambrose. Well, make the Council regret underestimating humanity. The ship's engines roared to life, and we hurtled into the unknown, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. I gripped the artifact tightly, its power coursing through me like a river of fire. I was ready to take on the Council, and I would stop at nothing to ensure humanity's emergence as a dominant empire. As we journeyed through the labyrinthine tunnels of hyperspace, the ship's systems humming with activity, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. The artifact's power pulsed through me, a constant reminder of the universe's secrets and mysteries. Lyra's eyes never left mine, her gaze piercing as if searching for answers. Captain Ortega's team worked in tandem, their hands moving with precision as they navigated the treacherous paths of hyperspace. The ship shuddered and groaned, protesting the intense gravitational forces that threatened to tear us apart. Captain, we're approaching the Arcor fleet's coordinates, Lyra announced, her voice laced with a hint of excitement. I nodded, my mind racing with possibilities. The Arcor faction was infamous for their brutal tactics and advanced technology. If we could forge an alliance with them, we might just have a chance to take down the Council. The ship dropped out of hyperspace and the viewscreen flickered to life. A behemoth of a ship loomed before us, its hull a latticework of black metal and glowing blue energy. The Arcor emblem, a twisted serpent devouring its own tail, adorned the ship's prow. Welcome, Ambrose Wynter, a low, gravelly voice echoed through the comms system. I am Betrayal, commander of the Arcor fleet. We've been expecting you. I smiled, the artifact's power coursing through me. Commander Betrayal, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. I trust our agreement stands. Betrayal's response was laced with amusement. Oh, it stands. But let's not forget, Ambrose, we're not doing this out of the goodness of our hearts. We have our own reasons for wanting the Council brought down. I nodded, aware that the Arcor's motives were far from altruistic. I am willing to pay the price, Commander. What do you need from us? The viewscreen flickered, and a data packet flooded our systems. Lyra's eyes darted towards me, concern etched on her face. Ambrose, the Arcor are requesting access to our advanced technology, specifically the hyperspace drives, and I held up a hand, my mind racing. Agreed, Commander. We'll provide you with the tech, but I want assurances that your fleet will be committed to taking down the Council. Betrayal's laughter sent a shiver down my spine. Oh, Ambrose, we'll commit to more than that. Well, make sure the council burns to the ground, and well be the ones holding the torch. The R-Corps fleet closed in around us, their ships a formidable display of firepower. I felt a surge of excitement mixed with trepidation. We were about to embark on a journey that would change the course of history, and I was ready to do whatever it took to ensure humanity's emergence as a dominant empire. Captain Ortega's voice cut through the tension. Ambrose, we're receiving a transmission from the R-Corps. It seems they have a gift for us. I raised an eyebrow, my curiosity piqued. Put it through, Captain. The view screen flickered and a shadowy figure materialized before us. Its features were indistinct, as if shrouded in darkness. Greetings, Ambrose Wynter, the figure said, its voice like a whispered secret. I am the architect, designer of the R-Corps' most advanced ships. I have a proposition for you, one that will give you the upper hand against the Council. I leaned forward, the artifact's power pulsing through me. I am listening. The architect's response was laced with an otherworldly intensity. Meet me on the planet of Zeridiaroman 4 and I'll reveal the secrets of the cosmos. But be warned, Ambrose, the price of knowledge is steeper than you can imagine. The transmission ended, leaving me with more questions than answers. I turned to Lyra, her eyes locked on mine. What do you think, Lyra? Is the risk worth the reward? Lyra's response was laced with concern. Ambrose, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into, but if it means gaining an advantage against the Council. I nodded, the artifact's power guiding me. Then it's worth the risk. Captain Ortega set a course for Zeridiaroman 4. We have a meeting to attend. The ship's engines roared to life, and we hurtled into the unknown, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance. I gripped the artifact tightly, its power coursing through me like a river of fire. I was ready to take on the Council, and I would stop at nothing to ensure humanity's emergence as a dominant empire. As we traversed the unknown regions of space, the ship's advanced sensors scanned the cosmos, searching for any signs of Zeridiaroman 4. Lyra's fingers danced across the console, her eyes fixed on the data streaming in. Ambrose, I've got a lock on the planet's coordinates, she announced, her voice laced with excitement. I nodded, my mind racing with possibilities. Captain Ortega, take us in. Let's see what secrets the architect has in store for us. The ship trembled as we entered Zeridiaroman 4 atmosphere. Turbulent clouds of toxic gases swirled around us, and the ship's shields groaned under the pressure. Lyra's hands moved with precision, navigating the treacherous descent. We broke through the cloud cover, and the planet's surface unfolded before us. A labyrinthine city sprawled across the horizon, its spires and towers twisted into impossible shapes. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, and I could feel the artifact's power responding to it. Welcome to Zeridiaroman 4, the architect's voice echoed through the comms system. I await your presence in the central spire. Come alone, Ambrose Wynter. I turned to Lyra, her eyes locked on mine. It'll be fine, I reassured her. Keep the ship ready to depart at a moment's notice. Lyra nodded, her gaze lingering on me before returning to the console. I made my way to the shuttle bay, the artifact's power surging through me. As I stepped into the unknown, I knew that the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The city's twisted architecture seemed to shift and writhe around me as I made my way to the central spire. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and I could feel the weight of the artifact's power coursing through me. I entered the spire, and the architect materialized before me. Its features remained indistinct, shrouded in darkness. Ah, Ambrose Wynter, it said, its voice like a whispered secret. I've been expecting you. You have a thirst for knowledge, a desire to unlock the secrets of the cosmos. I nodded, the artifact's power pulsing through me. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure humanity's emergence. The architect chuckled, the sound like a cold breeze on a winter night. Very well, Ambrose. I shall reveal to you the secrets of the cosmos. But first, you must prove yourself worthy. I raised an eyebrow, my heart pounding in my chest. What do you propose? The architect's response was laced with an otherworldly intensity. I shall present you with 3 trials. Each trial will test your resolve, your cunning, and your determination. If you succeed, I shall grant you the knowledge you seek. But if you fail, I took a deep breath, the artifact's power coursing through me. I am ready, architect. Let the trials begin. The architect's response was a cold, mirthless smile. Then let us begin. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance. With that, the chamber began to shift and change around me, and I knew that my journey through the trials had begun. The first trial materialized before me, a labyrinth of mirrors that seemed to stretch into infinity. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and I could feel the artifact's power responding to the architect's presence. Solve the maze of reflections, the architect's voice echoed through the chamber. Find the exit, Ambrose Wynter. The fate of humanity depends on it. I took a deep breath, my mind racing with possibilities. The mirrors seemed to ripple and distort, revealing glimpses of alternate realities. I reached out and the artifact's power surged through me. I stepped into the maze, the mirrors closing in around me like a trap. Reflections of myself stared back, each one a different Ambrose Wynter, each one a different path not taken. I navigated the twisting corridors, the mirrors seeming to shift and change around me. Suddenly, a reflection stepped out of the glass, a version of myself with eyes that burned with an otherworldly intensity. "You'll never escape," it hissed, its voice like a knife cutting through the silence. I raised an eyebrow, the artifact's power surging through me. "I've faced worse odds," I said, a cold determination creeping into my voice. The reflection laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Well, see about that," it sneered, as the mirrors seemed to close in around me. I reached out and the artifact's power burst forth, shattering the mirrors and sending shards of glass flying in all directions. The reflections dissipated, and I stood alone in the center of the chamber. The architect's voice echoed through the silence. "Well done, Ambrose Wynter. You have passed the first trial, but the next challenge awaits and it will be far more daunting." The chamber began to shift and change around me, and I knew that the second trial was about to begin. I steeled myself, the artifact's power coursing through me. "Let's get this over with," I said, my voice firm and resolute. The architect's response was a cold, mirthless smile. "Very well, Ambrose, the second trial awaits. Are you prepared to face your greatest fear?" I nodded, the artifact's power surging through me. "I am ready," I said, my heart pounding in my chest. The chamber began to fade around me, replaced by a dark, desolate landscape. A figure stood before me, its features indistinct, shrouded in shadows. "Welcome to your deepest fear, Ambrose Wynter," the architect's voice whispered in my ear. "Welcome to the abyss of your own soul." The figure before me began to take shape, its features slowly emerging from the darkness. I felt a cold dread creeping up my spine as I realized who it was. My father. The man who had abandoned me, left me to rot in the streets of New Eden. The man who had fueled my drive to succeed, to prove myself worthy. The artifact's power surged through me, but it seemed feeble against the tidal wave of emotions that threatened to consume me. I felt the old wounds reopening, the pain and anger and shame boiling to the surface. "You," I spat, my voice trembling with rage. "You're the one who started it all. You're the reason I am here, fighting for humanity's survival." My father's face was a mask of indifference, his eyes cold and unyielding. "You're not worthy, Ambrose," he sneered. "You're just a pale imitation of me. You'll never be good enough." I felt the rage inside me building, the artifact's power coursing through my veins like liquid fire. I raised a hand and a bolt of energy shot forth, striking my father with incredible force. But he didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. "You can't hurt me, Ambrose," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. "I am the embodiment of your deepest fear. I am the part of you that you've always tried to hide, to deny." I felt a cold sweat breaking out on my forehead as I realized the truth. My father wasn't just a physical manifestation of my fear. He was a symbol of my own self-doubt, my own insecurities. The artifact's power surged through me once more, and I felt a strange sense of clarity, of insight. I realized that I had been running from my fears, from my past, for far too long. It was time to face them head-on. "I'm not afraid of you," I said, my voice firm and resolute. "I'm not afraid of my own fears. I'm not afraid of myself." My father's face began to distort, to ripple and change. The shadows that shrouded him began to recede, revealing a figure that was both familiar and yet utterly alien. It was me. I was staring at myself, at my own reflection. The artifact's power surged through me once more, and I felt a sense of unity, of wholeness. I had faced my greatest fear, and I had emerged victorious. The chamber began to fade around me, and I knew that the second trial was complete. I felt a sense of pride, of accomplishment, as I turned to face the architect. "Well done, Ambrose Wynter," the architect's voice echoed through the silence. "You have passed the second trial. But the next challenge awaits, and it will be far more daunting." I nodded, the artifact's power still coursing through me. I was ready for whatever lay ahead, ready to face whatever challenges the trials might throw my way. "Let's get this over with," I said, my voice firm and resolute. The architect's response was a cold, mirthless smile. "Very well, Ambrose. The third trial awaits. Are you prepared to face the consequences of your actions?" I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, ready to face the unknown. "Let's do this," I said, my voice firm and resolute. The chamber around me began to dissolve, the swirling energies dissipating as I stepped forward, ready to face the next trial. The architect's presence seemed to recede, leaving me alone in the darkness. I took a deep breath, the artifact's power still coursing through me, and focused on the path ahead. As I walked, the darkness coalesced into a familiar landscape, the ravaged streets of New Eden, the city where I had grown up, where I had fought to survive. I recognized the crumbling buildings, the rubble-strewn streets, and the flickering lights of makeshift shelters. But something was different. The city seemed altered. I approached a group of humans huddled around a makeshift campfire. They looked up as I approached, their faces gaunt, their eyes sunken. They didn't seem to recognize me, but I knew them. They were the people I had saved, the people I had fought for. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice low and urgent. One of them, a young woman, looked up at me with a mixture of fear and hope. "Ambrose, you're back. We thought you were lost forever." I shook my head, trying to clear the cobwebs. "What do you mean? What's happening to the city?" The woman's eyes darted around the group as if searching for an answer. "It started after you left. The city began to change. The buildings began to shift, the streets began to warp. We don't know what's causing it, but it's getting worse by the day." I felt a cold dread creeping up my spine. This was the city I had saved, the city I had fought for. What was happening to it? Suddenly, the air around us began to distort, the buildings seeming to twist and writhe like living things. The humans around me cried out in terror as the city itself began to mutate, the very fabric of reality unraveling before our eyes. I raised my hands, the artifact's power surging through me once more. I could feel the city's energy, its chaotic pulse beating in time with my own heartbeat. I knew what I had to do. "I'll stop this," I said, my voice firm and resolute. "I'll find out what's causing this and put an end to it." The humans around me nodded, their faces set with determination. They knew I was their only hope. I took a deep breath, the artifact's power coursing through me like liquid fire. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, ready to face the unknown. "Let's do this," I thought, my heart pounding in my chest. And with that, I stepped forward into the heart of the distorted city, ready to face the third trial. As I ventured deeper into the twisted streets, the distortions grew more intense, the buildings contorting in ways that defied explanation. I could feel the city's agony, its very essence screaming in torment. The humans around me clung to each other, their eyes wide with fear as they stumbled after me. I pushed forward, my senses on high alert, the artifact's power guiding me through the maze of distorted structures. The air was heavy with an otherworldly energy, making my skin crawl. I could feel the presence of something ancient, something that had lain dormant beneath the city's surface for centuries. Suddenly, the distortion parted like a curtain, revealing a vast, open square. In the center of the square stood an enormous crystalline spire, its facets glinting with an ethereal light. The spire pulsed with energy, its power coursing through the city like a vital artery. I approached the spire, my heart pounding in my chest. This was the source of the distortion, the key to unlocking the secrets of the city's transformation. As I reached out to touch the spire, a voice boomed from the shadows, echoing off the twisted buildings. "Ambrose Wynter," it thundered. "You should not have come here." I spun around, my eyes scanning the darkness. A figure emerged from the shadows, its form indistinct, its features shifting like a living thing. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice firm. The figure laughed, its voice like a crack of thunder. "I am the guardian of New Eden. And you, Ambrose Wynter, are the key to unlocking the city's true potential." I narrowed my eyes, my instincts screaming warning. "What do you mean?" The guardian took a step closer, its form solidifying into something humanoid. The city was always meant to be more than just a refuge for humanity. It was meant to be a gateway to the cosmos itself. I felt a shiver run down my spine. "What are you talking about?" The guardian's eyes glinted with an otherworldly intensity. "The city's transformation is not a curse, Ambrose. It is a blessing. And you, with the power of the artifact, are the only one who can unlock its true potential." I hesitated, my mind reeling with the implications. Was this the truth, or was it just another manipulation? The guardian took another step closer, its presence suffocating. "Join me, Ambrose. Together, we can unlock the secrets of the universe." I raised my hands, the artifact's power surging through me. I knew what I had to do. "No," I said, my voice firm. "I won't join you. I'll stop this, whatever it takes." The guardian's face contorted in rage, its form shifting into something monstrous. "Foolish mortal," it spat. "You will regret this decision." And with that, the battle for New Eden began. The guardian's transformation sent a jolt of adrenaline through me, its monstrous form radiating an aura of malevolent power. I raised my hands, and the artifact's energy responded, crackling with blue-white sparks. The air around me charged with tension as I prepared to face the guardian. The humans cowered behind me, their fear palpable as they whispered pleas for salvation. I steeled myself, focusing on the task at hand. I had to protect them, no matter the cost. A blast of energy shot from the guardian's outstretched hand, and I raised my own to deflect it. The force of the impact sent me stumbling back, but I regained my footing, the artifact's power coursing through me like a river of fire. I countered with a blast of my own, and the guardian stumbled, its form wavering. The battle raged on, our energies clashing in a display of light and sound that shook the very foundations of the city. As we exchanged blows, I began to realize the true extent of the guardian's power. It was ancient, a being born from the very fabric of the city itself. Its connection to the distorted structures and the crystalline spire was palpable, and I knew I had to find a way to sever that bond if I hoped to stop it. A plan formed in my mind, and I adjusted my strategy accordingly. I began to target the spire, channeling the artifact's energy into a series of precise strikes. The guardian howled in rage as I struck the crystal, its facets shattering like fragile glass. The city's distortion began to falter, the buildings slowly returning to their natural forms. The humans around me cheered, their fear replaced by hope. But the guardian was far from defeated. Enraged, it launched a devastating blast that sent me crashing to the ground. As I struggled to rise, it loomed over me, its monstrous form twisting into a grotesque parody of a smile. "You should have joined me, Ambrose," it hissed, its hot breath washing over me. "Now you will pay the price for your defiance." I raised my hands, the artifact's power flickering weakly. I knew I was running out of time. Suddenly, a burst of light illuminated the square and a sleek, silver ship descended from the sky. The hatch opened, and a figure emerged, clad in a black and silver armor. "Ambrose," she called, her voice like a ray of hope. "I've come to help." It was Lyra, my ally and friend. With her by my side, I knew we could take down the Guardian and restore balance to the city. Together, we launched a final assault, our combined might crashing against the Guardian's defenses. The battle raged on, the outcome hanging in the balance. But I knew one thing for certain: I would not back down. I would fight to the end to protect this city and the people who called it home. With a fierce cry, I charged forward, Lyra by my side, and the fate of New Eden hanging in the balance.